Hello everyone and welcome to the Weka tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to show you a very important thing, and you need these things whenever you are trying to play with your data and trying to get some information out of the data, and when you're using a k-fold environment. So in this tutorial I'm going to show you how you can have the information of every fold in a k-fold environment. For example, if you have a tenfold cross-validation setup, then it is more likely you will want at some points to get the error rates of every fold. So how you're going to achieve that? So in order to achieve that, we will play with experimenter application of Weka in this time rather than playing with the Explorer tab, and we just click on that experimenter. So at first you'll see the Weka experimenter environment just like this. We have three tabs: setup, run, and analyze. As there is nothing here so far, so the run tab is grayed out, so as everything else other than open and new. So in the setup tab we are going to create a new experiment environment. So we created that, and you can see that the grayed out is now getting some life. So for the sake of this tutorial, we'll talk about just four panes on this particular tab called setup. The first one is experiment type. So we have told you at the very beginning of the tutorial that we are going to show you how you can get the information of every fold in a k-fold environment. So the experiment type is set to cross-validation, but you can have other options like train and test percentage split where you can say that I'm going to split my data set into 50-30. That means 70-30. That means 70% of the data will be used as training data and 30% will be used as test data. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just sticking with cross-validation for the sake of this tutorial. Number of folds, you can have hundreds and thousands of folds. That depends on your methodology and setup, but for my procedure I'm going to stick with the standard 10 folds. Classification and regression, if your task is classification task, you just select classification radio button, otherwise choose the regression. Now the dataset is the particular dataset you're currently working on, and on the datasets from which you are trying to achieve those information like error rates from every fold in a k-fold environment. So we are going to add a new dataset, and I'm going to play something that I'm currently working on with TD corpus R file. So this dataset is actually an R file. So the third pane here is iteration control. The number of repetitions is set to 10 as default. What is this? Well, there are some standards of number of repetitions you need in cross-validating your training and test instances. That means that here the 10 means that you have 10 equal sized folds. You have made 10 equal sized folds out of your data set, and number of repetitions means this will be done, this equal size folding will be done up to 10 times. So this is also becoming a standard to maintain not only k-fold environment but also iterated k times environment. So for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to set I equals to 1. That means I will just run once the 10 folds of this dataset called TD corpus ARF. Datasets first or algorithms first. This is pretty simple. That means data first. If you chose data sets first, that means that your data set that's called TD corpus ARF will be divided into 10 equal sized fold first, as we have set the number of folds to 10 here, and then a classification algorithm will be applied to it. Any algorithm you just choose that suits your purpose. And algorithms first means that the operation will be applied on the dataset on the basis of the algorithm you choose first, and then the Weka will divide the data space for you up to 10 equal sized folds. So anything can do anything can serve your purpose, but my purpose is served by the data sets first, so I've chosen that. Algorithms, this is the classification algorithms you're choosing to classify training and training and test instances, or cross-validated instances from your data set. So this also depends on your task. I'm going to choose naive Bayes for that, and leaving all default settings as it is. So when they are set, you can see that now we can see the run tab is alive. We go to the run tab and we select on start. So it started, it finished, and we have no errors. Otherwise, we should have if we have some errors, then we have to correct those errors, and then we have to come back to this experiment environment. Now we go to the analyze tab. So see, at first this is everything here is grayed out. We have nothing to do it unless we are clicking on experiment button. So now, for the sake of tutorial, you can do lots of things on this analyze pane. But for this tutorial, as I've said, what we are going to do, we are going to collect the information from every fold in a k-fold environment. Okay, so we're going to show our results in this way. On the rows, we are going to put the number of folds. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, up to 10. And on the column, we're just going to have one information, that's percentage of error, or in other words, that's also called error rates. So on the row button, row setup, we are just setting it up to fold because we want our rows as fold. We select that, and on column, we are selecting percentage incorrect, that's the error rate. So you can see that you have number of options here, anything you want to get the information from a particular fold, you can select that. So we select that, and after selecting that, you can see the available result sets 1 to 10. So these are the 10 folds of your data sets, and these values 24, 81, 31, 11 up to 20, 0, 7, these are the error rates of every fold. So now with these error rates, you can see if your classification algorithm is overfitting or not, what's the base classifier you have designed, and so many things you can do with this percentage of error or error rates for from every fold from a data set. So you can go back to old school books of machine learning and you can see what you can do, what you can actually do with the error rates from every fold.